Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I am Sebastian Yepes, your certified high performance coach, and welcome to another episode of the High Performance Method. Now, as I always say, your time is of value to me. Thank you for choosing to be with me for the next 5 to 10 minutes. I do not take that for granted, and my commitment, my stand, where I'm coming from is to bring you some sort of value, an idea, a concept, technology, something in which you're going to find a way to enhance the quality of your life. Now, that's a heavy statement. And remember, what I say is not the truth. What I say and how I live my life does not mean the same way in which you live your life. Now, that's the beauty of human beings. We have the ability to choose. And we're all so individualistic that we can all live life in our own specific ways, and it's all good. Not a problem. If something resonates with you from what I shared today, great, take it on. If something doesn't resonate with you today, perfect. Share it with me. Let's talk about it. What I've learned in the past 3.5 years going through personal development and my coaching is that when we share with each other openly, authentically, without considerations, then we start to learn about each other and ourselves and life in ways that before weren't available. So don't rob yourself of the gift that is possible from that. And take that moving forward with any sort of conversation that you have with people. Be open with them, share with them. Now, today's conversation, we talk around this idea of self-awareness. What is self-awareness? How does it work? And what's possible with it? Now, before that, we need to start to take a look at this, the human body. Now, if we look at our body, we've literally gotten to perfection when it comes to biological. We have opposable thumbs. You know how long it took to get these? Such a long time. From there, we take a look at this mind. At one point in time, we could only hear. Yeah, we could only hear. See how smart we are? We could only see. At one point, we could hear, and then it threw off our sight. Then everything got back to standard. Then smell got back into the picture. So what happened then? All these got whacked off. Long story short, here we are today. We are now able to do what we do. We are the most technologically advanced species on this planet Earth. And yet, we don't know how we work. We have an idea of how our bodies work. We can study ourselves to see how our bodies work. When it comes to the one driving factor of us, we still don't know what that thing is. This guy. Now, this mind is what drives everything. This mind is what keeps my body sane and alive while I'm speaking to you. This mind is what keeps my body operating without me having to think about it. If it wasn't for the way our mind works, we wouldn't be able to live, period. So then we start to take a look at that. If I'm not thinking about my heart beating, if I'm not thinking about the blood going through my veins, if I'm not thinking about my digestive system taking place, then how is that happening? Well, it's because we now understand one key thing about the mind. And the best way to put it is by thinking of an iceberg. Now, when you look at an iceberg, what do you see? You see the top of the ice, and then what we don't see is the bottom of the ice, underneath the water. And we now know that the bottom of the water, what's underneath the water, is way bigger than what's on top of the water. And that's the way our minds work. Now, in some circles, it's believed that we have 3 parts to the mind: the conscious, the subconscious, the superconscious. So let's just focus on these 2, the conscious and unconscious, or subconscious in some people, because the superconscious comes from the unconscious. But let's talk about this. So, conscious mind. The conscious mind is just the waking state. The things that you consciously choose. You say, I'm thirsty, I'm going to go to the water fountain and get myself some water. I am hungry, so let me go make myself some food. That is conscious choice. How much of those conscious choices are you taking throughout your day? We then start to dive into the unconscious or subconscious mind. Now, most importantly, before we move into the subconscious, the deeper part of the brain or the iceberg, let's think about the conscious mind. Now, in the conscious mind, we have the ability to choose. And this is one of the key things that makes us human beings different than any other species on planet Earth. We can choose. We have the dignity of choice. If winter comes, when winter comes, we don't have to fly south. We're not stagnant creatures. We can choose. If we don't like something, we can change that thing. If we believe we can do better, we can figure out ways in which we can do better at those things. So that's the conscious mind. This is the waking state. This is you as a conscious human being, the things that we do. Now, to make this whole thing more interesting, we now look at the subconscious mind. And we now start to look at how much of our conscious choices are actually being driven by our subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind can easily be put as just those things that are consistently driving the patterns in which we now operate life through. And these are emotions, these are thoughts, these are patterns that usually come around through repetition. These subconscious beliefs, these subconscious thoughts, we don't really think about them. Let me ask you this. Listen to your inner voice right now. What's it telling you? If you're thinking, what inner voice is he talking about? I'm talking about that one. Now, that little guy, that chatter, that inner voice is always saying something. It's in fact probably saying something to you right now if you stop and listen to it. You hear it? That is the subconscious mind. And when we can start to get deeper into ourselves, we can start to understand the subconscious more. And it's important to get into the subconscious to start to understand who we are. And this is when we start to diving into self-awareness. Because what we know ourselves to be right now in this waking conscious state isn't in fact our choice. It's gotten here because of our choices. But right now, who I am, me talking to you, this is all a result of me consistently putting myself in the daily disciplines that I do. And those daily disciplines that I put myself through is because I have a specific plan. But again, this isn't about me. This is about if you are trying to accomplish something for yourself in your life. When we talk about the mind, self-awareness, we need to start to look, what is the roadmap that you're headed to? Do you have a roadmap? Is that clear? Do you have a specific set of actions? Are you consistently being aware of what you're saying to yourself? This all makes a big difference because the way the mind works, and it's now known, especially the subconscious mind, the way it works is you can think of a vinyl, right? You pick up the needle, you put it down, and it spins and it plays music. Very, very similar mechanism, I guess you could say. When we repeat something, when we say something, when we do something, the neural transmitters in our brain start to fire with each other. And that thing that we're doing, that speaking that we're doing, the emotion that we're feeling is creating a groove in your brain. Over time, these grooves get deep, and that's when this subconscious pattern comes into the picture, right? So it may sound like a lot. Do I really want to go deep and find out my subconscious? My question to you is, what's the impact if you don't? Do you have a specific thing you're looking to accomplish today, but you don't believe you can do? Do you have a relationship that you're looking to improve, connect more, but you just don't seem to want to? You want to, but you just don't want to take the initiative to. All of this is because the driving factors in our brain and our mind are driving our actions. And we can start to look at that. Our past generates our thoughts. From there, our thoughts generate emotions, feelings. And the feelings from there generate actions. And those actions over time generate results. So if we take that little formula, again, past to thoughts, to feelings, to actions, to results, we can then start to say, wow, so all I gotta do is start to look at my past, understand myself more, so I can start to become aware of my thoughts, and then from my thoughts I can start to dictate my feelings, and then my feelings can now start to drive me to take certain actions, and with those certain actions I can have specific results. That's exactly what's happening at this very moment in time. The thing is, you just may not be aware of it. And this is for me where when my mentor said success leaves clues, at the very bottom of it all, the very foundation of it all, self-awareness always is part of everyone's success stories that I study. And it's Aristotle, know thyself, period. Know who you are. And understand that who you are today is not who you are, it's the summing up of everything that you've experienced up until now. And we're talking about society, we're talking about parents, we're talking about siblings, we're talking about school, we're talking about media, we're talking about culture. All of these things add up to make us who we are today. And just because those things add up to make us who we are today, if we're not happy with where we're at, we can now start to take different choices to get to where we wish to be tomorrow with practice. So I invite you, continue, if you haven't been watching the Facebook, start to look at the patterns of thought that are continuously running your mind. Start to be aware of those things that come up day in and day out. Maybe it's when the alarm goes off, something happens. Maybe it's when you get home and there's a bill that you gotta pay. Something's being said in the brain. Be aware of those thoughts. If you wanna make them super focused, write them down. Be aware of them. Now, don't dive into them. Don't live in them. This is just to see them. This is just to see the pebble in your shoe so you can take the pebble out and throw it away. And over time, with this conscious choosing, with this willingness to start to take a look at your life in a very present and conscious way, you can start to rewrite the groove, aka you can start to rewrite the thoughts. And with the rewriting of the thoughts, you start to now also alter, transform the results that ultimately come about. Thank you for being here. One more time, I really appreciate it. If this information, if what you heard today resonates with you, amazing. If it doesn't, share it with me, please. And if you found value in this and you think somebody in your life can also benefit from this, share it with them. This is all about us, the human species. My opinion and my belief and my faith is that we're all here to evolve. It's already been proven through history, and we're continuing to do so. What's coming in the future, listen to someone like Peter Diamandis. Oh my goodness, what's coming in the future? Did you know? Actually, doesn't even matter. There is a future that is very bright. And it is all up to us to really start to rise with the tide that is lifting. So, thank you for being here. Join me next week, and I'll see you soon.